Well, it says I am live. I'm going to just check and then I am going to, let's see. Oh, there we are. Now I'm live. Okay, let me get my stuff ready really quick. Just wanted to give people a minute to join. I'm going to share this live stream around a little bit before we get started. So I'm going to put it on my Soul Coach Michele page. And we're going to just do this and say hello 2021 New Year's readings. New Year's reading for the collective. If I could spell, that'd be great. Reading for the collective and more. See post. I'll put that and then there. So I'll be doing a simultaneous live from here and into my Soul Coach Michele page. Well, first of all, let's give everybody a big old hug. How are you? Please let me know if you can hear me. Hi, Alicia. Um, I'm so glad that I get to do this for you guys. And this is actually my tea. See? It's blueberry green from Aroma G's in Nashville, Tennessee. If anybody loves tea, loose tea, for medicinal or just plain old enjoyment purposes, highly recommend Aroma G's. I used to have an office there and I love them to this day. I go there all the time. And Roy and Greg are wonderful human beings that have put together a lovely, lovely environment where you can have tea and tarot and all kinds of stuff, because today we're going to be doing cards. So of course I have to have my tea. Um, so just say hello if you're here. I'm super excited. I know it's Saturday. It's in the morning. And hope y'all have your fuzzy socks on, because even though I'm all like business up here, I got pink fuzzy socks with those rubber grippies on the bottom so I don't fall down on my feet because it's chilly. So let's talk, because today we're going to talk about 2021, because who is ready for that business? I mean, this year's been quite interesting. And I'm just have my notes on the other screen, so that's why I'm kind of looking around because I don't want to forget anything. But yeah, so today's new moon energy, tomorrow's new moon energy is in Scorpio. And this one from everybody, again, I'm not an astrologer. I like astrology for me, and I like to share out the info, but highly recommend you find an astrologer you love. My friend Jackie, who I love, and she is one of our great resources that I call her my spirit sister, and she does astrology, but not publicly yet. As soon as she's doing it publicly, trust me, I'll be shouting out to like send you her way. But between her, Michael Lennox, who is there, and Ortley are my go-tos, because I know people ask me about that. My go-tos have been saying this is a big deal because this year is all about shedding the old. I don't know about you, but it's almost like we all talk about that spiritual journey and all that stuff that we go through, and shedding things and getting rid of things that don't serve us. So this year was all about that, but it was like a rip the band-aid off instead of like just picking at it so it slowly came off. And this moon, the feeling, the energy that I'm getting from it is very much that last sweeping of the floor before moving out of the house kind of a thing. You've decluttered, you've packed up all your boxes, you've moving them to a new version of you, the stuff that you still want to keep, and all the other crap. College hunks, Holland junk, or whoever your local junk person is coming to get all that stuff and carry it off and letting it go. So today, I think is a great day for us to do this particular reading. Hey, Karina. Hey, Susan. Oh my God. It's like the global sister posse sisterhood is in the house. We got New Zealand. We got the UK. We got Rhode Island. We got all the people here. If you're here, just pop in and say hello. So anyways, I thought this was a great day to go ahead and do that, because yesterday Mars went direct, so there's still a little bit of anger in the air, but it's smoothing itself out. But today's a great day to make those new intentions that are going to last you through next year. And so when I do readings, I don't do like, oh, you'll meet this guy on the corner of blah and blah, so go stand there for a while, or this is when you're going to get a new car, or this. I do soul readings. I do the kind of readings that help you on your path so that you know what energy is coming and you can then utilize your free will to choose how you're going to navigate it. And personally, that's how I think all readings should be, but that's just my preference because I do prescriptive, I don't do predictive, um, because I believe that I want you to have control over your divine power. And so, but I do want to give you a roadmap because I think when we all map stuff on Google, it gives you like 3 ways to get from A to B. That's really what it is. You're going to go from here to here, but how you get there and what you see on your journey is really up to you and how you navigate it. So, to get right to the chase, today we're going to do a 2021. Because 2020 has been interesting, y'all. 2021 reading, where I'm going to pull a journey card to have the journey energy. Like, what part of the Shero's journey are you in for next year? Or not you personally, but us collectively as a group, a human global group. And then the animal energy that governs over that, as well as then 12 angelic cards that will represent each month's energy. And I'll kind of go through all of those. Now, here's the kicker. And I think you're going to like it. So it's that time of year. Everybody who's been with me for quite some time knows that this time of year I offer specials on my readings. And right now, so before we get started, I'll just put it out there so that you know. If you go to, I think if you're watching on my personal page, it's up here. If you're on my business page, it's down here. I'm doing a 33% off this particular private reading. So it would be just you, me, and the cards and spirit. So there's 4 of us. Card, spirit, you, me. Hanging out on Zoom. It's recorded, so you keep it. It's so funny. And just as a FAQ, those of you who have had these in the past, because I have people booking these already, because they're like, can we book now? Can we book now? I've opened up my calendar for this. So you can go ahead and book. The link is up there. The coupon code for 33% off is up there. It's usually $175, but this week through the 21st, which I believe is 7 days from now, it's 33% off, so you can get your appointment for $117.25, I think is what it is. So that's a good deal. And you get the recording and everything, and a photo of your cards. So last year, every time I do this every year, everybody's like, can we bring our old reading and have it so that we can talk a little bit? Yes, of course you can. I have people that print out their cards and put it in like the protective sleeve and bring it with me when we do these in person. We're not doing them in person this year because of, it's 2020. But they'll keep them and they'll have their recordings. So throughout the year, I have people like send me messages like in May and be like, oh my God, here's what happened. And like this recently, Alicia's here and we did hers yesterday for next year. But it was funny because she's like, oh my God, in April, you were talking about if there's Armageddon or a pandemic, my business is going to be fine. And it was. So these are fun things, but they're also very helpful for you to navigate the energy of next year. So let's do one here for the collective so you know what's going on. And if you want to book one for you, you get a special gifty prezi from me to you, and I get to hang out with you in person. Yay! Okay, and all the links are up there, so I won't even go into them. So let's get started. So I'm going to move this back a little bit, and hopefully I won't knock it off my desk, because even though my desk is rather large, I just tend to spread out, and I like that. So I'm going to move the mic back, so I hope you still can hear me. Let's see. Hey, Marge. How are you? Julia. Michelle Whitman. Oh, my God. Hey, girl. How are you? She's one of my 2 L Michelles. Let's see. So what we're going to do is I'm going to pull a journey card. Then I'm going to pull out the other cards, and I'm going to lay them out, and then I'm going to talk to you about them. So we're not going to do them like one card at a time where it's a surprise and there's this big like dramatic pause like on American Idol where they go, and the winner is after this message. So I'm just going to talk while I lay these out. Let's see. Oop, that one's popping, so we'll take it. Oh, and the decks we're using today are the Hero's Journey deck by, let me grab them really quick. We're going to use Hero Journey deck by Kelly Sullivan Walden. I'm using the Spirit Animal Oracle by Clotmere and Reed, and I'm using the Angel Tarot by Radley Valentine. So, because I love you, y'all, if you've been with me for the last, I don't know, forever, you know that I'm an angel person. So, anyway, so we have our, oh, I love And it's so funny because yesterday, my peeps that I was doing this for on a private reading, was I would comment as I laid the cards out, and I'd be like, ooh, okay, and they'd be like, oh my god, what? And I'd be like, yeah, that's the kind of thing you don't want your gynecologist, your haircut person, your hairdresser, or your tarot person to be like, that's interesting, or oops, oh, don't worry. So let's see, what's the energy of 2021? The animal energy. We're gonna pull a card here, and they're telling me this one. Ooh, y'all, that's so good. I can't wait to show you. Okay, I gotta move all this stuff. And I have my Randy Rainbow glasses. If you don't know who Randy Rainbow is, I love him to pieces. He's a YouTube guy, and I just love him. Anyways, so I have my Randy Rainbow reading glasses. See, here we are. So that way, if my over 40 eyeballs um, get a little twitchy, I can put them on. So now we're going to pull our 12 Angel Tarot cards for next year's energetic journey. Oh, guys, you guys, this is so awesome. Yes. Okay. And that's it. Okay, thank you. Let's see. Interesting. It's really interesting because a lot of my private readings start in a much different way. Ooh, that's good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let me move my cup over here. Lots of feels next year, you guys. Lots and lots of feels. Yes. Let's see. Hey, Aileen. Welcome to the party. So just as everybody knows, I'm not pulling cards for individuals today. Just want to repeat that. This is for a collective reading for everybody. So here's an interesting, so I want to talk about a couple of things. Numerology-wise, next year is a 5-year for the general everybody, which is what we are addressing today, which means change. Thank God, right? But then again, this year was a 4-year, which is about building. But the fact was, we always kind of think about, oh, we're building new things. We forget that we got to knock down old structures to build lovely new things in their place. Hey, Jesse, where's Curtis? He needs to watch this too. Anyway, so we need to focus on the fact that we're going to be doing continuing a little bit of rebuild into this new year, but it is a 5, so it means that the new structures are going to be lovely and different and all kinds of stuff like this, okay? So from that perspective, I want you to kind of think about where in my life, plus where am I going to see new structures rising? And I slurp my tea. I know it's rude. All of my UK people, I slurp my tea, but y'all should be happy I'm using like loose tea. Anyway, blueberry green. So here's the thing. Our Shiro's Journey card that we pulled for the energy here is the Sacred Gap. So celebrating the Sacred Gap. Now, it's really interesting. I think that a lot of us understand that we have a rest work cycle in the spiritual journey or in manifesting, like where, your job description for manifesting is the what, why, and taking the inspired action. And the universe's job is the where, when, and how. And while the universe is working, you're supposed to just chill until they call you. But a lot of times we don't chill. We're like Sheldon Cooper in Big Bang Theory, where we're like, hello, universe, where's my shit? Okay, so celebrating that gap where you get to rest, I'm going to say part of this, it says give thanks for the buffer. Now, the buffer of next year is going to be like, that really great exhale that you have after for so long. And I think this year it was like a whole lot of, oh my God, all freaking year. So we're going to have this collective exhale, which I think is wonderful. So I want you guys, instead of saying, okay, next, let's go, y'all going to need to just take a minute. And I think that's the energy we're all going to have to remember for next year, which is this idea of it is a rest period and to honor yourself with self-care. Yes, we'll all be moving forward. It is a change year, but I think what's going to happen is we got to shift gears and understand that the GSD way of thinking, the get shit done way of doing things in the past that served us does not serve us anymore. You have to work in a co-creative way with the universe to make sure that the intentions you will lay out, especially right now, because it's new moon, remember, that you put down there, that you have to understand your role in bringing those intentions forward. And that role is the what and the why. So when you write them out, talk about why you want that to come to fruition. What will it feel like when you have that? Who will you be? What version of you? And lean into what that feels like. And then allow the opportunities to flow in, okay? So, and that's understanding that cycle and the idea of true self care. And as fellow business people, because I know there's a lot of ladies here that are ladypreneurs, remember there's more to you than just your work. And I mean, I know we love what we do for a living. That's why we're ladypreneurs, but we are more than just the work that we do. We are our families. We are our loved ones. We nurture ourselves, because if we want to show up 100% for the people we serve, we got to take that sacred gap time. Okay. So just remember that. You can come back and watch this later so that like I can be annoying in your ear, like Memorex. All right. So our energy for next year. Oh, this is so good, guys. This is so good. Butterfly spirit. Butterfly spirit. That's transformation is beautiful. So this understanding of, we've been cocooning like both literally and figuratively all freaking year, right? We've been in the house. Some of you folks that are in the UK and in Europe that might be watching are back in lockdown, and you're cocooning again. And I feel like, we are being asked here in the US to cocoon voluntarily because of what's going on. And so I feel like the cocoon is in that final stage. And the reason this new moon, you have really intense feels, you got really like icky kind of slimies going on. Because remember, when the caterpillar crawls up into the cocoon, it's not like in the movie where they glow and then all of a sudden they come out with these glowing beings, right? Like in that movie from like the 80s or whatever it was. No, it's nasty, it's messy. We all know this. The spiritual journey is not glitter and unicorns. It has a reputation of being that because, crystals, labradoodle, labradite, right, Alicia? I call it labradoodle. Anyways, they're pretty and they're sparkly, and the rocks and everything are pretty and great, but they don't carry the weight for you. You do it. They carry you through until you can do it yourself. And that's kind of what the cocoon is about. It's giving you the opportunity. It's an invitation to complete the rest of your work before the end of the year, because the transformation that will be coming next year, you need to be ready for. And it's going to be awesome and beautiful. And you're going to wake up and be like, what the crap? How did I get here? This is great. But understand there's going to be work, and you may be witnessing some crazy ass shit going on around you, because not everyone is on the spiritual journey because we have free will. Okay? So understanding that those of us that are watching, I'm assuming you are on your journey and that's why you're here. But know that you will feel like this is really awesome as we rebuild in this new way. But there are going to be people that you're going to have to say, I'm only going to be here to be a witness. I'm not going to be here to like play in your drama. I'm just going to be a witness, and I got to hang out with my beautiful transformation. Peace out. Okay. So those are the two overarching energies as far as where you are in your journey, which is learn how to self-care, learn that you are not, the co-creation isn't a one-person thing. You are part of the oneness. So you have the human side and source side, and you got to work together, co-creation, co-creation. And that means you need to take a break sometimes. So it's time for us to have a collective exhale. It's time for us to realize that self-care is like, don't give lip service to that. Oh, self-care isn't selfish, it's necessary. Okay, we say that all the time, but do we actually do it? No, we don't. So it's time to start putting our money where our mouth is and start doing the things we talk about as healers to bring not only unity to external, but to internal. Okay, that's what next year is going to be about. Big change. So let's get to the months. So normally what I have seen is on a personal level, there's a lot of fire going on in the beginning of next year for most personal level stuff. As a collective, though, it makes perfect sense that the cards that I'm seeing are mostly water, which are love. If you are familiar with tarot, they are the cups cards. They are the abundance. My cup runneth over. We have a lot of this love and emotion and stuff going on. Plus, we have a lot of air cards. I have no fire in the collective, which, oh my God, is that not just Thank you. Because fire is different levels of frenetics, but it's also um, the cooking of the manifestation. So, like, the cups and the air are all, in the way that I see things, are all about your intentions, your vibration, where you hold yourself so that you manifest things you want or what you don't want. Um, Fire cards are all about like putting everything in the oven and letting it cook, but we don't have those. So we do have earth cards, which are the actual materialization of your desires into manifest into your material existence. So we have a few of those. So I find it really interesting that we're moving from a Piscean, which is a lot of frenetics, which is a lot of like haves and have nots kind of. I have to have more and gather all my stuff, or else somebody's going to take it. That whole business is going away, and we're making way into the Aquarian age, which is much more thought and emotion based. And isn't it funny? Like, if you could see all these, and maybe I'll take a picture and post them, but it's all either water, air, which is emotion, love, and thought, um, and major arcana, which we have a couple, which are collective soul shifts for us, when I'm doing this on a collective basis, and earth cards, because that's where we are manifesting. So it's all vibration straight to, it's like almost next year's, looking at this layout, to me looks like instant manifestation when we collectively go ahead with something. Because here's the thing, you can skip the fire part. Because fire part, depending like how long it takes to cook in the oven, so to speak, is really up to you. Am I resisting? Am I worrying about the how? All that kind of stuff. If I can go from thought to material manifestation, boom, talk about magic. And that's what I'm seeing for next year. So let's go through the months. So we have 2 of water straight out the gate. And that is lots of emotional collectiveness. So we have a positive resolution, and I'm going to hold up the card. So here's 2 of water. It's a positive resolution of conflict. Y'all, I think that's hilarious. So we have January come, lots of calming, and everybody kind of getting back to being closer. And it's interesting because a couple months in, we have the Unity card. But 2 of water is about people coming back together, and coming back together in a peaceful way, where I personally believe that well, let me share. A friend of mine sent me a message, and this is last month, asking, like, I feel guilty about dealing, or about not wanting to spend time with people who don't respect what I do and where I am, and find and what should I do about this? And I said, this is more about boundaries. And where do you hold these people? If they're acquaintances or people you do business with, and you don't feel like this is someone you want to hang around with anymore, that's okay. But if there is someone who you want to preserve a relationship with that just has a different viewpoint, if you both can get along and have a conversation that talks about, here's my viewpoint and here's my viewpoint, and we can agree that we don't see things the same, but I've loved you for so long that I want to preserve this relationship. And I think what's going to happen is January, anyone that you preserved relationships with, that discord will simmer down to more of a, like, if you have a stove, like a 2 or 3, as opposed to the 7 or 8 or high it's been. So I feel like January is going to be where we have that great exhale that I'm talking about, where it's easier to hang out with people you love that maybe you've been at odds with. So I think January is going to come, and it's going to be a lot more of the, I'm so glad I can be with my people again. And it may not be in person because, again, we still are dealing with the pandemic stuff. So it might be on Zoom, it might be over the phone, it might be via email. But because Mercury has gone direct, and I think today's the last day of shadow. We have Mars going direct today, but we'll still be in that shadow. But by the time January rolls around, we'll be okay. We will be in a space of much better communication, and not the normal level of anger and discord, as opposed to the crazy ass shit that we've been seeing mostly for the last 5 months. So that's January. So January is going to feel really, really good. It's going to feel like, oh, I missed you. I'm so glad I see you again, right? And then we have the page of air, which is in February. See here. And air is thought. So when I see air, it's more about the page of air is all about um that younger energy, being curious in their thoughts, like being open-minded, logical, and like kind of like steps what's going on. But this particular thing is like there might be some delays in the plans. I feel like February, there's going to be a lot of like, here's what's happening, and this is a collective thing. So this might be like a news story. This might be a situation that is global or maybe specific to each one of our countries, but it might be a situation where we are given information like, I'm not going to sugarcoat this. Here's the deal, and here's how we're going to deal with it. I mean, that's kind of what it is. And I think what's going to happen is because this is an air, it might be that we are being overly cautious, but that's a good thing considering what we're seeing this year. So, and I think that's a result of what we saw this year. And it's a good thing because I want you to take whatever they say without the grain of salt. But I do want you to understand that everybody will have it come to fruition in their personal realm because it's an air card, but everybody will be thinking about it and we all will have opinions about it because it's an air card and we're talking about stuff delivered without um, any tact, really. It's going to be very like Mr. Spock or Data from Star Trek telling you what's going on, and you're going to be like, wow, that was kind of harsh. I get why you needed to be like clear, but still. So there's that in February. And so it's going to feel almost like you're in the car with someone who can't get out of first gear and doesn't know how to drive a stick shift right out the gate because we're going to be in a lot of emotion trying to navigate the results of this year. And I'm not just talking about the election in America. I'm talking about the pandemic on a global scale. I'm talking about murder hornets. I'm talking about the Pentagon saying UFOs are real. I'm talking about all the kinds of things that happened this year that were like, what the ever loving F? So understanding that first quarter of next year is going to be a little bit like driving in a car with somebody who doesn't know how to drive a stick shift. And just understanding that it's okay. It's going to be emotional. We're going to have a lot of be up in our head trying to solve problems, but we have to remember we got to stay down here. And it's flanked, that February air card, that thought card is flanked by a water, which is again the page of water. So we have that same youthful energy of how do I resolve all these problems? And I'm going to get out there and I'm going to do this and I'm excited. But if we know, like, pages are like how we act in the first 6 months of a new job. We come in there and we get hired and we want to prove ourselves, but we also are trying to like fix things we think are wrong. And there's people like the kings, queens, and knights that are kind of like, okay, simmer down, buckaroo. So after we receive the knowledge of this direct, very like tactless, here's the problem, here's the solution, we're just going to have to suck it up, put on our big girl panties and walk around with this, we will all be sitting here going, oh my goodness, how are we going to do this? And the fact is that come March, you'll have the beginning of March will be like that. It'll be like, okay, I'm going to reinvent the wheel, blah, 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 blah. But remember, you don't always have to reinvent the wheel, okay? We might feel like we want to do this for the betterment of our families and our friends and do all the things, but understand that you don't have to reinvent the wheel. And then secondly, this is a new phase. Come March, all of us together will feel the collective energetic shift from closing down this 2020 year. I know it'll kind of bleed into 2021, that first quarter, but emotionally, we will be seeing a much more calm. We might have that last ditch, like we got to do this, that, and the other to make sure that all of our well-beings are secured. And then that next month, March, will be like, okay, I got this. The shock will wane and we'll kind of be like, okay, new phase. And here's an interesting, those of you on the journey, so I'm assuming everybody watching right now, check in with March when you're there and see, I need to do more meditation, need to connect with source more because this is going to be a very meditative month. This is going to be another level of awakening for you. And I think it would be fun to do a collective meditation. I know on Insight Timer, there's a really great guy. His name is Kenneth Soers. He's from Norway, I believe. And he does live meditations. And I attended one once. Oh my God, y'all, it was amazing. But I feel like that's the kind of feeling that we're going to have March forward. And March by like the month, not like March. But as we move forward, starting in March, we will have more of a collective oneness feel. And that's interesting that that's what I'm feeling, because the next card is unity. And that's Sandalphon is the archangel over that. And the unity, when I look at this card, you kind of look and you see, and it's really interesting because you see all the colors of the chakras, you see all of the symbols of religion, you see someone that's very much like Merlin, that kind of energy of watching all the things. So you see in the card, you see infinity, you see the Star of David, you see the Christian cross, you see the Buddhist yin and yang, and you see the Muslim moon with the star. And then there's another one, but I can't see it because my eyes are old. But understanding, it's almost like that coexist sticker on the back of the car. So I feel like what this is saying is we will, since we connect through the oneness at the end of March, this will just grow because it's unity and it's a major arcana card. In April, there's going to be this huge shift in our heart center towards understanding and being okay with everybody, with where they are, who they are. It won't matter what color they are or what faith they are, or if they have no faith. It won't matter if what their gender is or what they identify with is. It is not going to be about who you love. It's just going to be about love. I feel like April is going to be a really interesting month for us that follow the spiritual path, because you will feel that shift in humanity where it's just like this whole first 4 months is a calming down and coming back together on both a physical and then in that second quarter a heart-centered shift, where it'll be very interesting to kind of see what happens. And I always my go-to archangel for the when I do meditation and I think about the crystal grid, I'm not quite sure why I asked Sandalphon to do that, but he always is over the crystal grid for me. And I wonder if it's because it's of earth magic that the crystals provide for us, because they are from the earth. And I also feel like the earth does not give a crap what label you put on yourself or on others. And so I think that's what the unity thing is about. The earth just wants to coexist with us and give us the energy that we need to love and to heal. And so if we can come back together with earth like this and do it in a coexist way, I think that's another level of this energy from April. So moving into May, which is really interesting. So once we kind of have this emotional cohesiveness coming back together, we have May and we have the Emperor card, which is Archangel Michael on there. And the Emperor card is all about organization, like systems, structure. So I'm guessing come May, we're going to see a lot more structure. We're going to see, we talked about this being a 4 year and a tearing down and then a rebuilding of the inner. And I feel like the change that's coming next year is the rebuilding of the outer. So we will also see this outer side be rebuilt. And Michael isn't just like, oh, I call on him to protect me or on a good car ride or my electronics during retrograde. Michael's all about opportunities, about your spiritual purpose, your soul purpose. He's over careers and stuff like this. So you may see in May career opportunities come back. You might see unemployment go up because he's over this. I feel like this is the time when we see the pandemic start to come down. Either the vaccine will be much more readily available, is the feeling that I'm getting, or it'll just be starting to us coming again out of the cocoon of winter into spring, where we can, much like fall has been, where you saw it kind of waning because people could go outside and open windows and things. So there's going to be this confluence in spring between clinical back, like clinical support in this area, as well as natural support in this area. So you'll see the fact that people can kind of, what I'm hearing Spirit singing to me is that song from Wizard of Oz where he goes, come out, wherever you are, and meet the young lady who fell from a star. That whole business where like the little munchkins come finally peeking out from behind the flowers, and start like doing their little dance and everything. I feel like that's what these two cards are going to be about. And not just for that particular spring of 2021, but in general, the feeling of like this whole year, we've been kind of hiding behind the flowers, watching the Wicked Witch of the pandemic wander around and like surrender Dorothy and whatnot. But the funny thing is, if we look at it from a spiritual perspective, surrender Dorothy could have been for a message for all of us to say, surrender to spirit, surrender to this, and so I can move you ahead to the next. And I feel like this particular, April, May timeframe is going to be a spiritual and a practical way to move us into that new space, which I think is really good, because then in June, we have Night of Water. And so that's Night is a step up from Page. So it's almost like your apprenticeship is over emotionally, and it's in water, so it's emotion, it's love. It's funny because it talks about falling in love and wedding proposals and, the need to balance emotions and an invitation to a social event. So here's a funny. So of course, now we're talking about these other two cards that are in May and April, or April and May, about that kind of confluence of spiritual and practical coming out of the cocoon, like for reals. And then the next thing we see in June are these like weddings, and it's on what that says to me isn't so much that the whole world's going to get married. It's more about, okay, we can start making plans again. We can start planning the weddings. We can start planning the anniversary parties. We can start planning the birthday parties. We can start planning vacations. Y'all, I'm so ready to go on vacation. Which I think sounds crazy because we're all like, oh, we've been in the house. But no, it's like, I want, what is it? The Dowager Countess on Downton used to say, a change is as good as a rest. I need a change. And so do you. So June of next year is when we're going to start being able to do that. But the converse of this, since it's an emotion card, and there is, if you look, there is a little bit of tumult in the ocean there. I think what's going to happen is, because we have been so restrictive and self-governing, so restrictive in governing our behaviors, because we're just like, we want everyone else to be safe. We want to be safe for ourselves, all this kind of stuff. We're going to have in June next year just this like, blah. So I want us to really remember, yes, you can start planning everything, but just keep yourself in check. Just make sure, like, emotionally you're balanced. You don't get too overzealous about everything, but we just kind of go, yay, okay, I can start really thinking about doing things outside of my little bubble again. So that's June. Now, that first half of the year, there's a lot of this kind of like, like up and down. It's a lot of water cards. We do see some soul shifts near the end of the second quarter that's getting us ready to come out of that cocoon and be really participatory in the transformation that'll head into the second 6 months of next year. So let's talk about next year. Because July, I think what's going to happen is June is going to be like, yay, it's like going to be a big party because everybody's going to be okay. Oh, hey, other Michele with 2 L's. I'm like looking over the comments like, yay. Let me take a sip of tea because I've been chatting here for almost 40 minutes. And a big thank you, I love you, for like hanging out with me today, because I know it's Saturday and it might be chilly, except for I think Suzanne, who's in New Zealand. She's probably like sunbathing and watching me on her phone. And again, sorry for slurping my tea. I know it's not couth, but I'm abroad. I ain't a lady, so you know. All right, so let's head into the second half of next year. And much like, I don't know, you guys, after a busy time. Now, the 9 in the tarot is indicative a lot of times of that, oh my God, I'm so glad it's over kind of thing. Now, it's the air in the air sign. And so the air sign is all about thought again. We've been thinking and how do I deal with this, and thinking. And you know, it's par for the course, considering we are going into the Aquarian age, which is all thought and emotion. But I think at July's time frame, it's almost like you ever like go through a stressful situation. And when our house flooded in 2010 and it was destroyed among other people's in Nashville, we had a big citywide flood. And it took us, 8 months to rebuild. And it was like every day it was either um, I'm working my 9 to 5 at the time, and then I would come home and spend whatever daylight was left, doing something to rebuild my home, checking with the contractor, or on Saturday and Sunday we would be working on the house. So after 8 months was done, yeah, we had this big celebration, much like I'm talking about in June, that we're going to all experience collectively. We had this big celebration at Thanksgiving of 2011, and then like for December, y'all, I crashed because it was like I was so excited that the whole thing was rebuilt and everything was cool and I could move back into my house. And then it was like, oh my God, thank God it's over. I'm exhausted. So even though we talk about how exhausted we are right now, it's almost like July is the time where we get to actually have the real rest. And y'all, girl, you gonna need it. Okay, so this is the 9 of air in July that I was talking about. Notice how all of the little people are sleeping. There's one that might be up. So you might have some like I think for 9 of air, it's gonna be I need a nap and we're going to be exhausted. So you might see other people kind of falling asleep around you, and you might be awake from a still leftover anxiety. So I'm going to go on to tell you this too. First of all, we're in a 9 of thought, meaning it's up here. It's not earth. It's not happening in the reality, in the material reality. It's all up here. So take your nap, but don't let the anxiety that we run the risk of becoming addicted to right now because it's going on for so long, and that's our now becoming our known state of being. In July, I want you to start being very conscious if you are feeling anxiety is keeping you up at night, because you're going to be exhausted and you're going to need to sleep. So you have this kind of low and high vibration of choice here in July to either take that rest, but also to be conscious if it's something's keeping you up at night. Start asking yourself, is that real? Am I safe in the present? Yes, I am. Right now, I have a roof over my head. I'm in this cuddly little bed. I'm good. That kind of thing. Okay. So in July, be very conscious of your sleepless nights and what's causing them, because it's all up here. It's all the racing thoughts. So lots of meditation, lots of self-soothing, self-nurturing, and reminding self that everything's going to be okay, because it's almost like shell shock when we're done. Or, I don't want to say PTSD because that, from a clinical perspective, but that shell shocked feeling of, I can't believe we just did that. Um, but it's all okay because it's thought. Now, in August, we have 5 of earth. And here's why I think I want in July, I want you to be really, really mindful to take the rest and to go high road with it instead of focusing on the anxiety of it and the worry and all this kind of stuff. Because come August, 5 of earth is about fear around money and security. Okay. So I think what's happening here, and it's in earth, so it's going to manifest if you don't allow yourself to relax and don't treat yourself, both when I say treat, I mean modality wise and also self nurturing, to really regain some center, because now you have the opportunity to, that you're going to see like those fears manifest a little bit. So this month, if that does occur, understand you don't have to go things alone, even if you, especially if you work for yourself. And it's funny that that appears in August because a lot of us are healers that I run with. And a lot of us see August as a slower month, business wise, because a lot of people are getting their kids back in school. The summer is ending. It's like a transition month for most families where your summer camps are ending or your summer vacations are ending and you got to prep your kid to go back to school and all, like, so the focus of most people is not on self-care, it's on what everybody else needs to get them transitioned from summer to fall, like from the first half of the year to the second half of the year. So what I am going to say is these 2 months, this August, September timeframe, high need of self-nurturing. Reach out and ask for help. It's not a weakness. It is actually a heart-centered way to nurture yourself, to ask for other people's help. And I want to make sure that those of you that are self-employed understand, okay, so we're planning. We got 6 months to plan to give ourselves a little bit of a buffer come August if our brains are gonna be like in this kind of state of like, ooh, I'm tired, I'm exhausted, I'm scared, that whole business, because we don't want that to manifest. But if it does for one reason or another, know that we need to just self-care our way through those 2 months. And then we come, and it's so funny. Then we come, and I've been talking about vacations and all this. We come to September, which is the four of air. Again, thinking. Because of the July, August, like up, down, up, down, up, down, of like being so much in our head, and then our thoughts becoming things because we're so much in our head. Come September, y'all, you're going to be tired. Even more tired than now, like I was saying before. And it's going to be an okay time. Again, nap, nap, nap. I know that sounds weird, but make time for naps. Make time to maybe make sure this might be a good month for you to go on vacation. I know that that sounds weird because September is when everybody goes back to school, but maybe if you're like me and you don't have your babies are fur babies, or you don't have any human or fur babies, this might be a good time for you to go on vacation, to take that spa trip, to go and do that quick weekend getaway, to recharge and come back recharge at the end of the month. Because and give yourself permission to do this. I think this third quarter is all about giving yourself permission to love yourself, to lean into spirit, to lean and surrender in, so that you don't just give lip service to the idea that the universe has my back. You are actually saying the universe has my back and believing it. Because I feel like in this particular, you'll notice there's two little horsies in the back, or unicorns, and watching over the sleeping little unicorn. And understand it's okay to take your nap, so to speak, to go on vacation, to maybe take a personal day, or a friend of mine calls them hooky days, especially if you are self-employed. It's important to take your hooky day. I know, like, as self-employed folks, we don't get the paid time off and all this business. But part of the reason we all became self-employed was so that we could fix our own schedule. That includes taking a hooky day or a personal day or whatever it is you want to call it. But the fact is you need to take them. And even if we talk to ourselves and we're talking about how, well, this whole time, maybe I've been out of work. Maybe my calendar has not been booked as it should be, as it should be. But the fact is that if we don't take care of ourselves, we cannot serve those that we want to come and serve, okay? So this third quarter, personally, I feel is all about really kind of traversing that journey after we get back to the whole unity of spirit thing. This is navigating the human aspect, because remember, we're all spiritual beings having a human experience, and I want you to understand that this particular section is not going to be super, unicorn farts and glitter, but it's necessary for all of us to go through as a collective, where we might see like a dip in unemployment or a rise in unemployment. We might see a dip in the economy. Something like that's going to happen, but the only reason it'll happen is because we are all kind of thinking about it. So if we can be aware that that might be coming, and as a collective group unto ourselves, intend for posterity, attend for abundance. And we don't need to be abundant just in money. It could be an abundance of, people trading foods. Like it's funny. I have a friend who she has chickens. Now I think we all know my extent of animal husbandry is my dog, but I'm an indoor kind of girl. But she and I'll make bread because I'm a foodie. I make homemade bread and I trade it to her and she gives me a dozen eggs. So there's that kind of thing I feel happening next year. And I think if we can stick to that feeling of abundance as well in this third quarter, things will be much more better served collectively and personally, because you're going to be witnessing this. So remember, witnessing is all here. You get to choose. I can be a witness and participate, or I can be a witness and stand back and be the eye of the storm. Okay, just remember that as we head into third quarter of next year. Now, fourth quarter. So we have October, November, December left. I love King of Water. King of Water is super high vibrational masculine energy. What does that look like? That looks like vulnerability. It looks like emotional stability. The strength is not in the power over something. It is in the power of the idea of a rising tide lifts all boats. We all work together to get where we want to go, and there's a very high EQ, which is the emotional quotient, versus IQ, which is intelligent quotient. Um, the high vibrational male energy is very much, the person who is very compassionate in a very healthy way. They're compassionately assertive. They're very trustworthy. They keep their word. And especially, it's the kind of person people love to be around. Um, and this is all about opening our hearts up. So once we get past this kind of idea, like, because again, this third quarter is going to be kind of like an earthquake between the Piscean and the Aquarian age, and we're going to remind ourselves in this October timeframe that we really are back in that the Aquarian age, where it's all, let's all love each other, let's open our hearts, let's open our minds, let's share amongst each other. You might find people sharing much more heartfelt advice. You might be leaning much more into collective partnerships, and really understanding that working together is going to rise all the boats. So I feel like after we go through this really rocky patch in third quarter, you kind of get to this next level of everybody kind of comes back together in this really kind of warm hug. Now, November might not be such a great month. We have a 3 of air, which isn't always indicative of great news. Again, I want to remind, everything that happens is for our highest good. How we choose to navigate it is our free will. And I'm going to encourage everyone to lean into love rather than fear. So there might be a time for great sadness. There might be something that we collectively experience together that creates sadness for us. But at the same time, it's also a time where we can be like, how can I step to the plate? How can I help heal? How can I help heal myself? How can I help heal others? People might be leading each other in the Ho'oponopono practice for forgiveness. This month, although we might experience a collective sad event, the fact is that at the end of the day, we can utilize the opportunity event as an invitation to come together again, to create that unity again, to give forgiveness all the way around, and elevate our love for each other on this level, and understand that whatever happens is for our highest good. And if we can step into that, that would be really great. Now, the cool thing is December is an earth card. Okay, so regardless of what happens in November, December is the 2 of earth. So we will be seeing all of this manifest into our material world experience. And the thing is that when I look at this card, we have the little fairy, who's kind of like the hedge magic here, little fairy, kind of floating around, flitting here, flitting there, lots going on. It's almost like what this says to me is, even though this holiday season in 2020 is going to be way different than it normally is, it's almost like that kind of buzz that happens in December normally is going to come back in December of next year. I think what we have learned through this 2020 is we don't have to, like, barnstorm like the retail stores at Thanksgiving. We don't have that there's, like when you watch The Grinch Stole Christmas, and he talks about that, love and joy in the Christmas spirit or the holiday spirit is not found at a store. It's found in our families and in our loved ones, who maybe are bonded to us not by blood, but by love. I think that this year, this 2020 year, has really taught us that it doesn't matter how much money you do or don't have. It's irrelevant, and loving each other is the most important thing. And I think that will kind of bleed over into next year, especially into the holidays, when we are able to go, and we're going to be much more thoughtful about not only where we shop, but what we buy, and how we show up for each other in the holidays next year, because this year is going to be really interesting. Thanksgiving's in about 2 weeks. And so the thing is that, and then we go into Christmas. I'm not allowed to put my Christmas tree up, I was told. that I'm not allowed to put the Christmas tree up or watch the Christmas movies, even though I have. I've watched a couple of Hallmark movies when he wasn't looking, until the day after Thanksgiving, which is my normal tradition. But I'm like itching to put it all up now. But I feel like we're going to carry that Christmas feeling all the way through next year. It'll culminate in that Two of Earth card in December. And I want to remind you that we might get really busy, like going, I need to do this and I need to do that, and Christmas cards and Christmas cookies and decorate the tree and go find one and put, where's the star? Where's grandma's star? Blah, 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 right? I want you to remember to be playful as you go into that holiday season for next year. So I feel like the last message I want to give to you before we kind of wrap up is this. As we close out this year, remember that the energy of 2020 revealed where our hearts were broken. Okay. Because all of the breathing things, whether it be the coronavirus or other things, that's all heart chakra. So as you close out the new moon, where we let go of things to make space for new and plant intentions, I want you to kind of ask yourself, where do I need to heal my heart? Where do I need to fill my heart? And this isn't about, external, go find a man, go find a woman, go find whatever to fill the missing piece in you. Where can I fill my own heart? Where can I find the spackle to seal up those cracks? Because it's about love this year, and I think that's going to lead into next year. And if we can use this last month and a half of this year to really explore, how can I love myself more? How can I nurture myself more? Because it's not about being selfish. It's not about selfish, it's necessity and all that business. But when you think about it, through the law of oneness, we are all one. All 7 billion of us really are all just 7 billion expressions of source energy when you think about it. Good, bad, ugly, it doesn't matter. We're all source energy. It's how we chose to express. Okay. And if we all can sit down and say, where can I nurture self more? By doing so, you nurture everybody else. You nurture people that you're like, I wish I could love them, but they're really not likable. Like I posted the other day. But the fact is that by nurturing you, your oneness, that nurture goes back to the collective and out. So where can I love myself more? Where can I nurture self more? Where can I heal my heart more? Where can I allow myself to expand in love? That's the end of this year that I want you to focus on. Because next year, you're going to have to be there to make sure that you are able to get to the place where you celebrate your sacred gap, to where you can honor the transformation that's coming for yourself, so that you can navigate this highly emotional but good beginning of the year and really embrace it. Navigate that third quarter like a boss, and then get back to business in fourth quarter. I think that's really what is the call. And that makes sense because next year has changed, because we're not going to be able to go back to like pre-2020 behaviors as far as thought. And I'm not even talking about pandemic behavior. I'm talking about believing, like if you're one of those folks that's like, well, if I intend for such, someone else will have to go without. This crap of fake piety needs to go. That needs to go. And then the converse, which is also a lack mindset, is I need to get mine before you get yours because you're going to hurt me. That bullshit needs to go too. The only way we move forward in healthy manners and get along back together and work together to build this great, wonderful experience that I think we all are looking for. That warm hug that we want, the feeling of the cozy socks that we get when we put them on in wintertime. That comes from heart-centered work. Okay, so this year is all about the tearing down to do the rebuild, and next year is the change in architecture. And so by the end of next year, you'll kind of be in a different groove, but it'll feel more normal than this year for sure. And I hope this was helpful. I hope this was really helpful. Just a quick reminder before I kind of close. If you want your own private 2020 New Year's reading, just you, me, there's 4 of us, you, me, Spirit, and cards. small group. Um, you can get on my calendar real easy. The link is up here if you're watching this on my personal timeline. If you are watching it on my business page, right down here. And you get 33% off if you book your appointment now through next Saturday. I'd go ahead and book it like now because my little phone over here is like blinking and saying people signed up, people signed up. So if you want a spot, you're gonna have to make sure you get it because there are limited spots. I'm only doing this till January 15th, and I'm only doing so many per day. I think I have 3 Saturday spots, just 3. So if you're a Saturday person, you better grab yours like now. And then once the 21st passes, it goes up to the regular 175 price. Right now it's 33% off that, so 117.25, I believe. But anyways, you can grab your own. We can get together. We can have tea. Hello, gorgeous. We can have tea and hang out and talk to spirit and look at your 2021 and make some plans for you and see what you're going to manifest and do all the fun things. So if you want to do that, make sure you grab your spot. I will be sending this out in a replay. So if you're on my mailing list, you'll get the email. And Suzanne, I'm glad you popped up. You're welcome. All of you, you're very welcome. Suzanne, I know you're like, our time zones are weird. So if you are either in the UK or New Zealand, like Suzanne, and you look at my calendar, you're like, I want to do this, but the times are not there for me. Just send me a PM or like an email or something, and we'll work it out for you because I want to make sure if you are not available in the current U.S. time zones, I want to make sure, and you're like, I really want to do this, just send me an email and we can set that up for you, okay? But do it ASAP so that we make sure you get in. Other than that, I am so excited to do this for you. You are welcome. Thank you guys for joining me, and thanks for being with me. I know we've been here about an hour, and I am so excited that we got to do this today. And and make sure you come back and you can revisit this as a collective to see like where I was like I got some hits and where maybe I got misses. Let's hope for all hits, okay? And maybe let's hope for some misses because some of them, you know, it's like I would rather see Q3 be smooth sailing. But you know, hey, that would be a welcome miss if that's wrong. But we'll navigate it whatever it comes. Okay. So, anyways, on an up note, happy new moon. Make sure you do your new moon rituals. On Insight Timer, my favorite new moon ritual is through what is she manifesting with the moon? I think is or moon man something. Her name's Sarah, but it's new moon in Scorpio. I'll see if I can find it and post it. Number 1. Number 2, remember to join me for Messy Bun Monday, where I'm going to pull just the weekly card for the energy of the week. We're doing that. I'm going to do that for the foreseeable future. And if you are watching this on YouTube, make sure that you hit the red bell so that you are notified when I do a new video, and you subscribe to my YouTube channel. And then if you're watching this on Facebook, make sure that you can like my page, friend me, whatever, and then share this out because it's public. So I want everybody that needs help or needs support in this kind of energy, just share it out to everybody you love, and we get to hug and love energetically everyone, okay? So thanks for joining me. Have a great rest of your weekend, and I hope this was helpful. And if you need me, again, I do the 2021 readings that are on special right now, but we do general readings as well as I'm doing right now the Clarity of Purpose month-long private soul journeys. So if you want one of those, I do 3 people only a month. So that means I really only have 3 slots left. So if you want one of those, PM me and we can get you set up. But other than that, have a great weekend. I love you. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you next time when we come back and we pull some more cards, probably on Messy Bun Monday. Okay? Love y'all. Bye.